this. I mean, you've put whatever you've put into it every day, your effort. Then somebody comes and states that, no, just because I'm black, I should have 50%.
No, that's not what it says. It says 50% black people should also be allowed in the same business.
But why should it be forced on you?
It's not forced, Smashay. You must remember that sometimes black people don't get hired because they are black. Remember, most of these things are owned by white people. And white people, unlike us, they take care of their own.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 1873FM. Hashtag 1873FM. 1873.
I know leadership exists, but now my co-host over here, we now need to convince him. He doesn't believe that leaders exist. He doesn't believe leadership does exist. And anytime someone says they are a leader, he asks for their address because he always says, where can I find this leader? What is this leader's address? How do we convince him that leaders do indeed exist?
You don't feel that you must be the first person to do it, but there's always somebody who will say, okay, let me take the book, let's write what we need to do here, where do we need to start. There's always that person who will facilitate for people to problem solve. And I think for me, initially, those are the small attributes of being a leader.
It starts with us, and we are the us. Always ready to learn. Tune into 1873 FM, your voice, your power.
Roger. Frequency modulation engaged. Resume worldwide music stream in 3, 2, 1.
Hello. Здравствуй. Ciao.
Shalom. Bonjour. 你好.
สวัสดี こんにちは
What's up, world?
Good songs.
Day long.
It's number one.
Most awesome thing ever.
This is
One of the coolest stations in the world.
To be a part of the conversation, call us now on Joburg 011-5684-270 or add us on Skype 1873FM.
The hardest radio on this side of the hemisphere. 1873 FM.
Do you realize that, Naledi, we are talking of private companies?
Definitely.
Imagine you as an individual, you start up your own company, your business. I mean, you've put whatever you've put into it every day, your effort. Then somebody comes and states that, no, just because I'm black, I should have 50%.
No, that's not what it says. It says 50% black people should also be allowed in the same business.
But why should it be forced on you?
It's not forced, Smashay. You must remember that sometimes black people don't get hired because they are black. Remember, most of these things are owned by white people. And white people, unlike us, they take care of their own.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 1873FM. Hashtag 1873FM.
A gentleman once remarked that the opposite of poverty is not wealth, but it is the rule of law. So that being said, this listener stated, absent the rule of law, development is a mirage. What is your take on that?
He is correct. Where there's no rule of law, where there's no peace, where there's no order, development cannot thrive because there will be conflict. Fortunately, in our region, we have little spots of conflict here and there, but in the main, there is peace. In Zimbabwe, we are peaceful. We observe the rule of law in Zimbabwe. And what are the tenets of the rule of law? Those who commit crime were arrested. And they go to courts, some get discharged, some are sentenced to prisons, and they were for prisons full with such people. Another tenet is that we must always submit ourselves as government to elections every 5 years, and that we've complied with for the last 38 years when we became independent. That's constitutionalism. We stick to that. In fact, this is why we went to war. We lost thousands, tens and tens of thousands of our brothers and sisters, the same as South Africa, for us to be where we are today, so that we have democracy in the country. That is there. Yes, of course, we have constraints sometimes of implementing the ideals which we have as a result of resources and as a result of sanctions that have been imposed on us. But as I already said, we feel we should not be constrained by these sanctions by those who do not want to see Africa develop, those who do not want Africans develop. So we are now saying we will rise, and we will rise together. No one will stop us from rising as a people.
1873. 1873.
The envelope of knowledge on leadership literacy with Naledi Botina and myself, Tinashe Pasiri. You don't work for yourself. You work for the customer because it's the customer who pays you. You cannot invoice yourself, if that makes sense. Does that make any sense?
It does, Tinashe.
Yes.
But now, as you are saying, you are the same person that says we make our own decisions.
Okay, we make our own decisions.
We are individuals.
Yes, we are individuals.
Then come back. So now, if you are telling me we do it for the customers, then you are not doing it for yourself.
Come on! Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 1873FM. Hashtag 1873FM. 1873. 1873.
Alongside Paul. And yes, it's been a very interesting morning yet so far with the conversations that we've had. We had a conversation with the Secretary General of Friends of SMM. And if you want to know more about FOSMM, you can simply go to the website, which is FOSMM.org. About the vision of the Friends of SMM, the individuals who happen to be part of FOSMM, to be trusted. FOSMM in itself is basically a platform where knowledge, collaboration, and knowledge creation and sharing for stakeholders who are interested in enriching and broadening their analytical and conceptual understanding on matters, particularly on corporate matters is concerned. So this is a platform which bridges the gap when it comes to such matters as corporate literacy, basically. Using case studies such as the SMM case study and many other case studies, just to mention a few. So the website, if you want to know more, is fosmm.org. Yes,
okay,
that's basically the website. So, I mean, from the conversation that we had with Tapiwa, if you were just to summarize it, Mpo, what is it that you can say you picked up from the conversation, and what would you say is your take home from that conversation?
What I took from it, I found something interesting about the. What is that? The Recon Act? What is it? Reconstruction Act?
It's called the Recon Act.
Oh, the Recon Act.
Yes, it's short for the Reconstruction of State Indebted and Insolvent.
Okay. So what I picked up from the what he was talking about not knowing or ignorant, so not knowing the legislation and the processes and how it can actually harm us and not help us move forward in a way. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but yeah, I actually with that conversation, it made me actually do more research on it, because while he was talking, I was actually searching on this SMM and the Recon Act and yeah, it's something that I need to go into more and find out more and be knowledgeable about that.
Okay. Nonetheless, we'll come back to that. Let's see. We've managed to connect with Florence. So, Florence, how are you this morning?
I'm well, thank you, Tinashe. Compliments of the new year.
Compliments to you too. I do hope that you had a wonderful holiday, and yes, you're looking forward to even more acceleration towards building your bank, and more importantly, just broadening these conversations on the 1873 FM when we talk of in search of the future that you want. So maybe Florence, just recapping from the conversations that we had prior to the holidays, and more importantly, what we were looking at, the power of storytelling. obviously, I mean, between then and now, there's so much that has happened on your end in your life, and just through the conversations that we've been having on the platform in itself and outside radio. Okay, just to share with the listeners out there, with the viewers out there, your experience yet so far, and the feedback that you have gotten, even from particularly those whom you have showcased on the radio platform.
Thank you very much, Tinashe. From this platform, especially our slots, the power of storytelling. I learned about the beauty of originality and the acceptance of oneself. And I actually gave myself time to actually reflect and actually look at the beauty of the uniqueness of each and every individual story. And I think I've gathered a lot and learned a lot, especially from each and every one of the people I've actually managed to add to my bank, particularly. The one thing I realized, which is common amongst everyone, is each and everyone has a story to tell. And from each and every story, there is a lot we can learn from, and there's a lot we can also use to reflect on ourselves, to actually check whether we are on the right track or we are actually living our purposeful lives. And on that note, it actually inspired me to actually want to go broader and to actually also engage people from more broader and okay, what can I say, a broader a bank with people from very extreme walks of life. So I think that's one of the key things I've learned and I've managed to reflect on and I've gathered from this show thus far.
So I mean, the year is 2020, and obviously, with each new page, which is new year, people always have. What we tend to call resolutions for that particular year. So, from your end, I mean, in as far as broadening this conversation is concerned, what is it that we can also expect?
As far as the resolutions, I think I would like to honestly say that I gave myself some time to reflect and to actually now, I think, work on the list from the crossover from 2018 into 2019, because there are a couple of things which I did not manage to actually achieve, which were on my list of resolutions for 2019. Now, I've decided to reflect and to actually task myself to work on a list of 5 things, just to give myself 5 things, 5 targets, and work on those bit by bit. So these are 5 monthly targets, because if you cluster them as a huge list or what can I say, a compounded list of things you want to do for the year, you realize that everything will be more or less of a clutter. So I have things I decided that I would want to do, but I actually broke them down into little tasks to say there are things I've told myself that by the end of January I should have achieved this, I should have completed this, I should be maybe halfway doing these things. Then I continue like that from February, March, till December. So part of the New Year resolutions or the things I've decided to put into little tasks is actually this show, trying to make it better and try to make it more fun and to bring flavor onto it, and also use it as a tool to actually educate other people and to also broaden my sphere of networking, and also trying by all means to broaden my knowledge and also the circles of the people I know, so that I can be able to be more capacitated to stand as a young entrepreneur and also as a young academic.
On that note, I really want to thank you, Florence, for your time, just sharing your story this morning, particularly how the conversations have been you know, how they've shaped your thinking, and particularly when you look at yourself being able to reflect on what you want for yourself as an individual, in as far as the future that you desire, the future that you would want to see, and more importantly, making use of such a platform to be able to accelerate towards that future. On that note, thank you once again. Let's catch up then later and continue with these conversations as we seek to get to the mountaintop and get ahead in this year 2020.
Thank you, Tinashe. Have a lovely day. And thank you to you, and bye-bye to your guest.
Okay, that's Paul, by the way.
Good one.
I'm Paul. How are you? Happy New Year.
I'm very well. And you?
I'm good, thank you.
You have a good day.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Florence. We'll catch up then. And yes, to the listeners, to the viewers who also want to add their voice to this conversation, feel free to be able to do so. Good morning to you, George Tizenda. Glad to know that you are following the conversation and you're loving the conversation. And yes, talk to us also through our social media platforms. Add your voice in as far as the power of storytelling. I mean, be able just to tell your story, who you are, what you do, and more importantly, in as far as the conversation that we are having in search of the future that you want. What kind of future do you want for yourself? How best can that future can be secured? What role can radio play in as far as accelerating towards that future? We go on a short break and we'll be back shortly. Keep it locked on your channel of choice, the 1873 FM. Your voice, your power.
Baby girl, you know your love is stained in my memory. So right now, got to sing this song so you remember me. John Paul and sing. I'm thinking about you. Bang, bang, bang. Girl, I miss you. Serious thing. Baby, ever since that day you went away, yes, I can't live without you. No way, girl, you're always on my mind. Oh man, I'm telling you the truth, yo. You're always on my mind. Baby, girl, always on my mind. You better trust in this and you, yo. Girl, you're on my mind. So I'm gonna tell you, baby girl, cause you're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. In my thoughts and in my words, and girl, you ever in my rhyme. Girl, you're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. Every hour, every minute, every second of my time. I'm addicted to your smell and to your skin and to your smile. Because the memories you left me of your touch is so fine. Searching for your tenderness, I keep on trying. Me, I forget to loving down the line. Always on my mind. You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. Girl, you're on my mind. If I don't see you today, I hope I see you tomorrow. But I'm not going to see you, girl. Girl, I've gotta let you know how I feel. I don't real deal. This love is real, and I don't wanna fool myself. No, it belongs to you and no one else. Baby, girl. Always on my mind. You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. Girl, you're on my mind. Keep on telling me, baby girl. Yo. Girl, because you're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. In my thoughts and in my words, and girl, you ever in my rhyme. Say you're always on my mind. You're always on my mind. Every hour, every minute, every second of my time. I'm always waiting and I'm anticipating. And there's no debating, girl, that is you me craving. I got to have you every morning, miss you every evening. Got to have you around the year, I miss you every season. Mandeville. Say you're on my mind. You're always on my mind. Girl, you're on my mind. Always on my mind.
1873. 1873.
What kind of Africa do you want to be part of?
What a question. Thank you so much for that question. I'd like to see a well-developed country. Each and every African country must be well-developed. We must be able to do business without depending on Europe or all the other countries that we now depend on. I'd like to see an Africa that is peaceful. You look at it currently, we're struggling with wars, instability, and all sorts of other challenges, economic challenges, for example, which is a big problem.
That was Mr. Anelnglovo, the president of Zim SA Forum.
Tanash Ampasari with the Africa I Want on www.the1873fm.com. 1873 FM.
I want to find out what it is that you have done for the people of Angola so far. I mean, you want to be the change that you want to see. So what change? Because we can sit here and talk about all the problems Angola has and all the problems Africa has.
I'm not just here to paint badly our current government, but we also have some ideas. And one of them, talking politically, is that we want to give back, what we are calling citizenship back to them. What I mean by that? What I mean is that